Tom.
Hey Jack, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Welcome to Highways Presents.
Thank you.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Highways Presents with me, Dominic Browne, editor of Highways magazine, and I'm really honoured to be joined today by Jack Durdle, product manager at Yunex Traffic, and we're going to be talking about Yunex Traffic's groundbreaking awareAI. So Jack, just to start us off, what is awareAI?
Thanks, Dom. So awareAI is essentially a video processing system at the end of the day. We've developed a product that's there to support traditional detection use cases, detecting pedestrians that are waiting at a crossing, detecting vehicles that are also waiting at the stop line. That's fundamentally what we've developed in a video sensor format. So we've got lots of technology out historically with radars and loop technology, but now we're focusing on bringing also into the mix this AI-based solution. So bringing in that new technology, that real powerful processing support, and really developing a solution that can cater for a mix of different transport modes.
What could I see if there was a junction with awareAI technology deployed? What would I see on the road? What does it look like? How is it installed? And how does that clever AI analysis work?
So I guess there's two parts to it, Dom, in terms of the hardware. And as a member of the public, you'd only see one part of it at best. You'd see a camera on a pole, and that's your video sensor input into the processing and the whole solution. But the real sort of brains and core of the solution is what we've designed into a traffic signal controller. So it fits and is designed for easy installation, easy maintenance into a traffic controller cabinet, where it will interface into the controller as well to provide those demands and those extensions into the system. But essentially it's designed as a tray, so it's easy to install, easy to maintain, with all of the required components to allow that solution to take effect. And coming back to your second question, Dom, as well, around how does the software elements of it fundamentally work as well. So those video cameras are providing a stream to our processor, our intelligent AI-based processing unit, where we've deployed our software module, and that's where the AI enhanced algorithm is running. So we take all of our data set and we make the system learn ultimately on lots of different images and angles and colors and lighting conditions, so it can understand that that's a pedestrian or that's a car or that's a HGV, and that's basically seeing that in real time as those video streams are coming in and then producing an output as a result. So whether that's to see the pedestrian that's waiting at the crossing to do something with that, provide a demand for them to get them the green man, or it's a case of actually capturing the data, the metadata. So it's capturing the fact that there was a person there or a HGV waiting and starting to build up that profile of network usage.
But if I'm a local authority and I'm running the system, the junction, I can give it prompts and requests and demands.
Yeah, I guess so. That comes down to a little bit of how you set up your traffic signal control and what your plans and your mechanisms for that control would be. So the likes of the adaptive control algorithms like Fusion and UTC systems that sit above it can have that sort of influence. And awareAI is one of the sort of feeders into that. So we can provide the information to make those decisions based on whatever requirements that might be. So if it is a case of, like you say, perhaps holding one type of transport a little bit longer to give priority to another, that's the sort of thing that comes onto the traffic signal control. But awareAI gives the control the idea of what's going on. So it might be 5 pedestrians waiting over there and 6 HGVs in convoy over there, and then giving that information to the likes of Fusion, for example, to make those decisions, make those priority mechanisms come into play.
Can you tell us a little bit more about some of the applications you've seen, like where it's been used and what kind of interesting options people now have because of this powerful tool?
Yeah, and I can start by describing some of those, but even I'd preface that with it's almost completely extensible in terms of this is the type of solution now where it will just get better and better. Not on its own, obviously you need to curate it and provide the data sets that it needs, but in the sense that if vision-based technology like this, if you can see it, you can do something with it, right? So you can see if there's a pedestrian waiting and maybe that pedestrian is sort of starting to turn a different direction, and maybe that's the sort of thing we can start exploring and starting to get like behavioral analysis in there, or V2X connectivity. We can start to understand positioning of different objects and start feeding that data into those automated vehicles or the connected vehicles, start building up that full ecosystem. And that's where the vision technology is great for that, because you get full visibility and get all of this information that can ultimately be used various different applications. Going back to some of the sort of immediate benefits, I mentioned sort of like, the cyclist priority, where, you've got a real influx of cyclists for whatever reason. Maybe there's an event going on, maybe there's a football match that's just kicked out, and, a huge amount of pedestrians have appeared. Those are sort of applications that we're quite interested in solving, and that's where we've seen a lot of benefits in some of our early deployments, is around managing that influx where you're not necessarily able to predict it happening, so you can't build it into your traffic signal plans as easily. Certainly you can then react to it with the inputs coming in on through the likes of awareAI.
So what's your pitch to the market when you're presenting awareAI?
So really we've brought it down to fundamentally being a detector, an advanced detector. I'm not going to do any disservice for sure, but ultimately want it to be an alternative detector solution. So rather than having a radar, which is a valid option, or having loops, you can use this type of technology to serve those applications for demand extension type use cases, but at the same time now starting to deliver that data, those insights around the network, because historically, again, those solutions can't provide that level of information because they're just on-off toggles. Is there something there? I don't really know if I'm the detector. But with the likes of awareAI, this is the product that can start delivering that information. And that's the pitch, is you can get a detector product and start getting data at the same time.
So it detects and it knows exactly what it's detecting, and it can log that information.
Yeah, it aggregates all that information, so you can review it, so you can see over a week or a month what that sort of usage looks like, what your peaks and troughs of the network might be. Obviously, you'd normally expect your 9 a.m. sort of everyone rushing to work sort of thing. You'd see a big spike, start to cater down. That's the sort of information you start getting. You can get visibility of. And particularly with the likes of the active travel schemes, you want to know that you've just invested in all of this infrastructure. You want to know the real benefits of that. What's your usage from these cyclists, for example, or perhaps you put a new mechanism of control in on the controller and you want to prioritize HGVs. You can start to understand, how long the HGVs are waiting there for. Is it longer or less, depending on what sort of algorithm you put in or what sort of control mechanism you put in. This is the sort of data that you now get, while also servicing the basic detector needs that the controller would require.
Right. So a local authority might use this kind of off-the-shelf system, plug it into one of their more challenging junctions, find out all their information, and then build a business case for refining either the signals and the phases, or even the kind of physical junction itself. And then you can put this back in afterwards and see exactly what impact you've had, and then you can move on to the next one.
Absolutely, yeah. So rather than being portable, perhaps, but putting it in, as you say, beforehand, you get a real understanding of the usage. Perhaps there's a lot of left-turning cyclists, and you want to try and make that an easier movement for them, for example. Then there might be a case, as you say, a business case to actually put some infrastructure in there, maybe a dedicated cycle lane. But also you keep your awareAI system there at the same time, and then you could start actually doing something with the fact that those cyclists are now on that new cycle lane, putting a demand in to start controlling the cycle signals, for example. That's the sort of benefit of it that I would suggest is really quite powerful.
Yeah. Can you tell us where the idea came from your conversations with local authorities? Why do they need this type of product to help them manage traffic in the modern network?
I suppose it's a multitude of things, I'd say, Dom. Is that there's been a drive for quite some time now, as long as I've been in the industry, to move away from inductive loops. Is probably the foundation of it. There's a lot of pain points around the maintenance, the installation, the cost of having to duct 100 meters to a particular loop position. So it can be quite intrusive and costly. So we've seen that pressure as one of the drivers. So starting to look at things like video sensors is a good solution for that, because we're moving technology rather than cutting into the ground. We're putting it up onto poles and being a lot more easier to access, easier to maintain, easier to install, a lot less of an impact on the network, less road closures, a huge multitude of benefits around that as well. But secondly, it's also this drive to start understanding what's going on the road network as well, right? Because there's a growing need for multi-modal use cases. We've got active travel schemes, bus service improvement programs, and a whole mix of e-mobility coming into the fray as well. So there's a real drive now to start understanding that what's the breakdown of the road network look like? How many pedestrians? How many cyclists? How many HGVs are using the network? What direction are they going in? That sort of information can now be used and understood to help make better decisions about the road network and how to manage it. Some of the examples we've been looking at with our customers is outside of universities and train stations, where suddenly you get a massive influx of pedestrians, and the signals aren't designed to cope with that sort of thing inherently. There's things you can do, but ultimately this is the type of technology that can start serving those needs, where you've got a real mix, a real dynamicness to the situations at hand.
What would you like to see the impact of not just awareAI or your future developments, but AI technology in general? How would you like to see that change network management?
I think it really starts with the users embracing this type of thing, right? The local authorities embracing this type of technology. It's a huge change that's coming out. I appreciate it might be quite scary because it's kind of trying to do things slightly differently, but fundamentally it's a case of embracing this type of technology because it is coming and it will deliver benefits, and that's the crux of it it will be providing a lot of value. So it's trying to go on that journey with the manufacturers like ourselves. It's understanding that this sort of technology is coming. You see it in the likes of adjacent industries. You see it with the chat GPTs and the co-pilots of the world. Everyone's embracing it now. We're actually seeing the real benefits of it, and I think that's going to keep improving. It's only going to get better.
Okay, final section. This is a quick top 5. Jack, you selected for your top 5 tech trends. Number 1.
I'm going to have to say AI, I think, for this one. Yeah,
that was nailed on.
Predict that one.
That was, don't need AI to predict that. Number 2.
Let's say Internet of Things.
Okay.
I think it's something that we've been seeing a lot of already, and I think we're going to start to see a bit more of that interconnectivity between devices, like big data.
Big data.
Yeah.
I knew it would be in there. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe bad advertising with the name.
I think big makes it sound so over.
Too much data.
It's a little bit too much to manage, but I don't think that's the case. I think it's a case of now using this data.
Excellent stuff. All right, number 4.
I think 5G.
5G.
Yeah.
Surprising, interesting. Why 5G?
Well, I think it's an interesting one because I think it sometimes get a bit of mixed press again, I would say. So it's a case of, is there the infrastructure there to support it? Some question marks around that. I think I can see the benefits of it, but I don't think we're quite there yet.
I get it. So the best is yet to come from 5G.
I think so, yeah.
All right, 5.
I'd say cloud.
Oh,
cloud computing particularly, I'd say, actually. So I would say there's a good focus on cloud going forward. I think it is the technology of a lot of choice.
Okay, brilliant. Well, it's a good list. We'd love to have you back again in the near future, before 5 years. We'll see how awareAI is developing and see all of the wonderful things you're getting up to. But thank you so much, Jack. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, Dom.
Cheers, mate.